Hello, good morning. Welcome to my channel. My name is Tanya or TitaniumBuilt, whichever you prefer. As you guys are coming in, if you guys could please just hit that thumbs up button. It really does help the channel and it pushes it out into the algorithm. That way more people can watch it and they can come and join us. We have some good stuff to talk about today. Just trying to set up my microphone a little better there. Also, I'm going to post in the chat right now for our channel membership. If you would like to join, we would love to have you. Let me get my camera going here. I do have it on. Okay, there we go. I do have it on subscriber only mode in the chat, and that's just so that it combats the bots a little bit better, a little easier, things like that. So that's why I do that. Some people put it on, they'll do members only for, or not member, I'm sorry, subscriber only, and they'll do subscriber only for but you have to be a subscriber for 5 minutes. And sometimes you just want to get your comment in the chat. So I just do mine on any duration. You just have to be a subscriber for any duration, maybe hit refresh and then you'll be able to chat. So, and then hopefully the banners are fixed today to where they're not looking all crazy. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Yesterday they were covering the banners were covering my face. I don't know if you guys remember. So good morning to everybody in the chat. Also, as I'm just going through the chat, if you guys would like to follow me over on Twitter, I'd love to have you. I do have a Twitter now. You can direct message me. We can communicate over there a lot easier. I can get you a lot of case details faster. So my name over there is @titanium_built. So if you'd like to follow me. Also, I have a TikTok, which is @TitaniumBuilt. And you can follow me over there if you'd like to. We are going to, where do you get your cool little neon light in the background? Where did I get it? Actually, I don't know. I'll have to ask. My boyfriend ordered that for me. So when I hit 5,000 subscribers, we did a giveaway and then I got a neon sign. And then I got a camera. So it was actually, I got a double deal because when we got the neon sign, it was I don't know, you can kind of see it, but when it was on the white wall, it was flashing a little bit. There's a setting where it can be a party in here, but it was flashing a little and I didn't want that to trigger anybody. And Vincent actually was the one that brought it up. He was like, that can't trigger a, something I can't get the word, seizure. I was going to say spasm. That wasn't right. Seizure. So we painted the wall dark, which we wanted to do that anyway. And we just put a little bit of lighting in here. So thank you so much for noticing it. But I'll have to ask him. I think that he got it. I want to say that he got it shipped here from Canada, but I don't know. I know that he was talking to a company there, but then he was also looking on Amazon and a couple other places. So. But I love my little sign. I feel so legit. I feel like we have made it. So our next milestone is 10,000 subscribers. That's when we'll do our next giveaway. But for this week, which it's only Tuesday, but I'm trying to get by the end of the day, I'm trying to get to 6,000 subscribers. And I'm at 5,935 right now. So if you guys want to just smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, and then we'll go ahead and get into today's case coverage. I don't know if you guys saw, I changed my title and stuff on my thumbnail today. I was going to talk about Alex Murdaugh and Idaho 4 because I had information I wanted to share on both cases. But then I found that, Miss Nancy Grace, so Nancy Grace has been at the courthouse watching the Alex Murdaugh trial. She herself is entertainment. If the trial is boring to watch, if you just watch Nancy, I could watch her all day. She just looks like she's, so bored, but it's just so funny. Oh, Canada. Yeah, I don't know. I know he talked to someone up there, but he also was talking to somebody in the Cincinnati area too. So yeah, so that's what so I had a webcam and it's an Elgato one. It was really nice. I just got it for Christmas. And when it was on, it was kind of making it blink. So he went and he got me a really nice camera. I'm not even allowed to touch it. It's that nice. I don't even touch it. I'm I don't want to touch it. It's too pretty. Um, my dad had an appointment with the VA doctor, and he thinks the cancer kidney is spreading to his back. Oh no, a cat's life. I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh my gosh, my back. What is going on with people's back? Because I don't know if you were on yesterday's live, but the night before last, I woke up in so much pain. I was in pain during the live, but I just kind of got through it. And I broke my ribs before, and this is what it felt like. I mean, if I woke up at 4 a.m. and it felt like someone broke my rib, but I couldn't go back to sleep. It was so bad. I thought I was gonna go to the emergency room, and I don't go to the emergency room unless it's like I literally I'm dying. I'm not going to the emergency room. I just hate going. I'm an impatient waiter. I don't like to wait. So I just would rather try to take care of it at home. But I just couldn't go back to sleep. That was the problem. I was like, if I could just fall back asleep, I would be good, but I just couldn't go back to sleep. So, but so Miss Nancy Grace has been down at the courthouse for the Alex Murdaugh trial. And we watched the trial. What was it? Last Friday, I think we did it all day long. It gets a little boring when you do it like that. So Nancy Grace came out with a new podcast to go over the whole week of the trial, just to give us all of the tips and tricks and all that stuff that we know. So I have like 15 windows open, and then I have Nancy. So we'll see what we get to. I am. Thanks, Crime with K. I'm feeling a lot better. I don't know what was going on, but it literally felt like phantom pains, like because I broke 3 ribs on my left side. That's the worst pain I've ever been in my life. I don't recommend that. So the first thing, actually, before we get to the podcast, I wanted to show you that they released the body cam footage. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I haven't seen all of this yet. So I was going to watch it with you guys. But Law and Crime came out with it. Let me share the screen. Oh, that might be more helpful, huh? I don't know if you guys have seen this or not. But we're going to go over like the highlights a little bit. So it's a little easier than, sitting through the whole trial. And then if we see something pop up that we need to address over there, I'll keep checking. We'll jump over to the trial. Let me make sure this doesn't hurt your ears. Okay, well, it's not, I don't think there's any noise yet. Okay, I was just making sure there was some, so. I just wanted to let you know that this was like this is the body cam footage. I told you it was body cam footage from the Alex Murdaugh trial, but I didn't really tell you what it was from. So sorry. It's from the inside of Alex's home the day after, Maggie and Paul were killed. So this is the body cam footage that the cops had when they searched Alex Murdaugh's home the day after. And there will be noise that just comes up in a couple seconds.
Down on by your feet. I need to collect them. I saw one over here. There's 2 right there.
Yeah, see, I just spent
We'll get a dynamic. All right, go ahead and pick that one up. There's 2 right there.
Yep.
They've been here a little while. Should be 300s. There's one to your right.
Yeah, 300, yep.
Yeah. And I think it was 5 total I saw. Right here. Could have been wrong. I was just trying to discreetly here we go. The orientation.
Yeah. So 5.
You need to bag them separately. Don't rope them together.
Wonder what that blue thing was. Did you guys see that like on the ground? I'm gonna see if I can go back just a little bit. Like there was just something blue like on the ground. He didn't pick it up. I don't think he mentioned it. It'll be like in the lower left side, like right over here. By the second step up, it looks like. Wish I could point with my mouse, but it's right by the Long Crime Trial Network. I wonder what that is. Go back a little bit.
You need to bag them separately. Don't rope them together too much. Keep from scarring them. See if we can get one in each finger of this glove. It's a new glove.
There's 2. There's 3. Freddie didn't hold.
I'm hot
4.
out here. Sweating.
Oh no. And 5. Okay.
22 long rifle. All right. Tie's all crooked.
So when autopsy is over, the funeral home, whoever
How you doing, sir?
decides to do, they will bring the
Wow. Now that is a lot of guns. Wow. You can see like the bow over here. Wow, y'all. Good morning, Michael. Isn't that crazy? Look at all those. I mean, my family hunts. I wonder how many guns my brother has. Wonder if I text him right now and I asked him that if he would be like, why are you asking me this? Because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 that I'm counting. But and these are like double buck or whatever they're called, double aught. Yeah. Wow. And I'm sure he's not a bad shot. If he's got all those weapons, geez.
Paul and Miss Maggie back home, and then from there you get your rank. You get your rank as far as funerals and different things.
typical of the autopsy time?
So I'm not sure if it is scheduled for today. My guess. Do you know, Jeff, when the autopsy?
Not yet, I don't.
My guess.
I can find out and let you know. I'll step outside and call and see if they've already
You'll
made.
find out.
Yes, sir,
after
in
the
USC.
delegate.
Yep, I'll step outside.
So I would imagine.
About a half hour ago, they had not started it yet, is what Rich Harvey, the coroner, told me.
Okay, so that means they are in the process of doing it. They're already there. So, and they will come back home to y'all.
It also looks like, just from a general observation, it looks like it appeared to be that they look like they're in the basement. Like the ceilings don't look very high, or is it just me? Because I have vaulted ceilings, so I don't know. But it almost looks like, but then how would they have the ceiling fan? I don't know. It's just so crazy to me. I'm just trying to figure out where they're at in the house.
Tonight. So then from there, you can,
It's an autopsy that takes
Some of the tests take longer as far as
No.
any kind of toxicology or
Too many windows. Never mind.
gun stuff, anything like that,
I don't
that they
mean
may.
to be insensitive, but because there are two people, it will take a little bit longer. But they will be able to return. They will be able to return the bodies to that, or to the funeral home. But there are other tests, toxicology, tissue samples, results like that, that will take at least a month. But that will not affect
No.
making funeral arrangements at all.
Once
That's
they
why
get
they
the
take
sample,
it and return it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
then they're done.
Yes, sir.
So we tell Alex to give it a couple of days.
I'm gonna step out and call and see if the,
So do you have an idea what funeral you want to use? So you can go ahead and call Gordon and say, hey, this is.
All right, cool.
So it looks like they found, what was it, 5? I mean, but, well, never mind. But look at all the bullets on the shelf right there. So if you find 5 bullets sitting outside the back door, or I think you said 5, 22 long rifle, ammo, it's not going to make a damn bit of difference because this is all ammo boxes right here. The black thing up here, it might even be a gun. I'm not even sure. I can't really tell because it's kind of blurry. Man cave, for sure. That's probably every person's dream that hunts. Like, I mean, that's what I'm wondering. So a lot of people, Isabel, like a lot of people, like they'll put their guns out like that, which is not the smartest thing to do in the world. Because I was wondering how much they were spending on safes when he said he had like over 20 some guns or something, 25 guns. Because I used to work at a sporting goods store. And little old me, I was 115 pounds at the time, soaking wet. They would have me getting them off of the truck with a pallet. These safes they only hold up to like 10 guns or maybe 8 to 10 guns, but they're like 1,000 pounds. They're like a ton. Yeah, you would have thought they would have been a little locked up. Yeah. Especially if you have, people coming in and out of your house, you have kids. I mean, I know that his kids were grown, but still that they have friends coming in and out. Apparently that he knew all of their friends. So you would think that they would, but maybe some of them are because that's only like 17 that I counted, but that could have been the whole 25. Maybe there's some over here we just didn't see, but I wanted to show you guys that. Also, Murdaugh kind of made he made a remark. And I don't know if he's saying it just hurts so bad, I did him so bad, or they did him so bad. Have you guys seen this clip yet? So this clip I'm going to play it for you. It's basically Alex Murdaugh. He's in the police interview. He describes seeing Paul and Maggie and starts crying. Agent on the stands tells Murdaugh, it's just so bad. I did him so bad. Murdaugh in the courtroom shakes his head and appears to mouth, that's not what I said. And I remember seeing that. He was like, that's not what I said to his lawyer. So I'm going to go ahead and play this for you and let me know what you guys think he said. Because I don't know. Let me see.
Saw a traumatic picture and
Maybe I can continue on Twitter. Yeah, okay. Make it a little bigger for you.
And sitting here talking today is tough.
It's just so bad. They did it so bad.
When you asked the defendant about the traumatic picture that he saw of Paul and Maggie, what did he say?
It's just so bad. I did him so bad.
I did him so bad.
Yes, sir.
Saw a traumatic picture, and I know it's not hard, or not easy. I know it's hard. And sitting here talking today is tough.
It's just so bad. They did it so bad.
When you asked the defendant about the traumatic picture that he saw of Paul and Maggie, what did he say?
It's just so bad. I did him so bad.
I did him so bad.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it one more time, just because I just don't know. Like, I don't know what I hear. Like the first time it sounds like he says it, what is weird though is whenever the guy says, he does say that it was him that said, I did him so bad. That's when he says, no, I didn't say that. So that just was kind of strange. Let me see. I want to hear it one more time.
Saw a traumatic picture, and I know it's not hard, or not easy. I know it's hard. And sitting here talking today is tough.
It's just so bad. They did it so bad.
When you asked the defendant about the traumatic picture that he saw of Paul and Maggie, what did he say?
It's just so bad. I did him so bad.
I did him so bad.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think he said I did him so bad. Because why would he say they? Why wouldn't he say, like, he did him so bad, or the person that did this did him so bad? It does sound like he's saying, I did it, so I did him so bad. Wow. Yeah, I had to, like, close my eyes and really listen to it. I might have to put my headphones in later and just listen to it. But that's literally, yeah, Mystic Mirror is right. It's literally a confession. But yeah, so I wonder how that's going to play out. So I wanted to show you guys that. And then now we'll get on to Nancy's podcast, because this one is a little bit longer. She normally does like 45 minutes. This one's 58 minutes. So we get her a little longer. Little extra longer. If you guys aren't a member of the channel and you would love to be a member, we'd love to have you. You get a lot of cute emojis, including a Nancy Grace emoji. And you get some cute badges beside your name. And let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and read, because this is like so small. I'm going to go ahead and read the description of what she's going to be talking about. So basically, Nancy's at the Murdaugh trial this week. She's going to be there all week filming. So we'll have a lot of stuff to kind of listen to, hopefully, because I'd much rather listen to her, I don't know. I'd much rather listen to her than sit and watch a court case for 8 hours. I don't know about y'all, but 8 hours in court, I feel like I'm on jury duty or something. So it's just, I don't know. We did it on Friday. We stuck it out. Until like the last hour I got off, I didn't know. So let me see. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and share this with you here. And I'm going to go ahead and read it too for you guys. Let's see. It says, SLED Special Agent Jeff Croft took the stand today in Alex Murdaugh's trial, testifying on several matters related to the night Maggie and Paul Murdaugh were murdered. Croft told the jury that he interviewed Paul Murdaugh's good friend, Rogan Gibson, about the phone exchanges between himself, and Paul minutes before Paul was shot to death. Paul was caring for Gibson's dog, and they were discussing a possible problem with his tail. Croft testified that after Paul Murdaugh did not respond to a text, Gibson texted Maggie Murdaugh asking her to pass on a message to Paul to call Gibson. Croft also testified that he entered the main residence at the Murdaugh's hunting property the day after the murders. Croft explained to jurors that they were seeing in body... Croft explains to jurors what they were seeing in body camera footage. He describes how he arrived at the property and found spent .300 blackout shell casings outside the exterior door of the gun room. Prosecutors say they matched the casings found near Maggie Murdaugh's body. Croft testified he was also looking for a 12-gauge shotgun, as 12-gauge shell casings were found near Paul's body. There was not a gun found in the gun cabinet. So apparently they have a gun cabinet as well. Earlier in the day, defense attorney Dick Harlepool was examining a crime scene tech of the trajectory angle of the bullets that killed Maggie and Paul Murdaugh, suggesting the possibility, if not likelihood, of two shooters. So that's what the defense is going for right now, because there are two guns that were involved. So they're going for, two shooters in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and play this for you guys. If you are just now joining us, if you guys could just hit that like button, I do appreciate it. And if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, we would love to have you.
Flooring contractors agree when looking for the best to care for hardwood floor.
Crime Stories with Nancy Grace.
Hello everyone, I'm Nancy Grace here with Fox Nation, and we are just outside the Murdaugh murder trial courthouse. It's happening right behind us. It's been quite a day in the courtroom this morning. Let me tell you what's been happening so far. It took the defense a long time to get started. They were cross-examining a crime scene analyst. She was really good on the stand, Melinda Worley. Now, we met her for the first time last week. The state had her up on direct examination. The cross-examination this morning, it was Dick Harpootlian at his best. But can I tell you, he really had the gum in the works. He did not have all of his photos and his demonstrative evidence ready. There was a lot of shuffling around in the courtroom, long delays. The judge finally said, everybody, let's take a break so the defense can get it together. The jury left the courtroom. The jury came back in the courtroom. There was more bumbling around, but finally, Harpootlian made his point, and his point is, wait for it, could there have been two shooters based on the trajectory path of the bullets? And think about this. Think about having a ball of styrofoam and you take a knitting needle and you stab it into the styrofoam ball. That needle will be the trajectory path of the bullet aiming, okay? And Harpootlian made a really good argument about that. Thank you for being with us here at Fox Nation and Sirius XM 111. I want to introduce to you my guests. I'm going to take them one at a time. First, I want to go to Robert Crispin, private investigator, former DEA, Miami Field Division. Now he's at Crispin Special Investigations. For those of you just joining us, we're live outside the Murdaugh courthouse, and I've learned a lot this morning. Robert Crispin, please try and explain in simple terms what Harpootlian is up to in the courtroom.
Smoke and mirrors. He's trying to put a bunch of smoke and mirrors up to the jury to detract them from the truth. What he's talking about is the flight rod that the investigators have put into the hole where the trajectory went. They're talking about the dog cage. So they're saying now that there's an 82 degrees angle of that trajectory going into that cage. That puts it way up here. Hence why he's saying we have a second shooter who could have been higher. He completely caught that investigator off guard.
Hold on. Let me understand what you're saying. He was saying in court, hey guys, in addition to Crispin, with me is Dr. Michelle Dupree former forensic pathologist, medical examiner, detective. It goes on and on and on. Author of Homicide Investigation Field Guide. She also knows her way around ballistics. Dr. Dupree, please, everybody on the panel, jump in. But Dr. Dupree, let's follow up on what Crispin just said. What Harpootlian is trying to tell this jury is that there were two shooters, okay? And he's right now arguing it through his cross-examination that based on the trajectory path, this is important, guys, based on the trajectory path of the bullet, like did it come from up to down? Did it come from right to left? He's arguing that I guess there had to be a sniper or a sharpshooter up in a tree shooting down at that angle. That's what he's trying to say, Dr. Michelle Dupree. But here's the fly in the ointment. Maggie, her body had stippling. That's important. Explain, Dr. Dupree, what is stippling?
Yes, Nancy. It is possible there could have been two shooters, but that doesn't mean that just based on the trajectory. And stippling absolutely discounts that because stippling is a close-up, not a contact, but a
Can you just slow down just a moment? Not everybody is a firearms expert. I want you to explain how stippling on Maggie's body, it's burning from the shooting. It's a contact shot. Why that defeats the theory that somebody's outside shooting in. That's BS, technical legal term. Hit it.
It is BS because stippling is actually not a contact, but it's a close contact. It's very near the target. And many things come out of the barrel of a gun when there is a shot. There's fire, there's soot, there's unburned metal and gunpowder. And this is actually small, very small particles of unburned metal that will scratch the surface of the skin. It cannot be wiped away. This actually injures the skin, and it indicates, by definition, that this was a close range shot.
So the theory that there's a shooter off in the distance shooting, or even 10 feet away, that won't fly because Maggie has stippling on her skin. It was almost, if not a contact hit. Hey guys, I'm hearing in my ear, straight out of the courtroom with me, Ann Emerson, senior investigative reporter, WCIV, host of Unsolved South Carolina, the Murdaugh Murders, Money, and Mystery, which I have listened to about 10 times, Ann Emerson. And I want our listeners and viewers to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. If I could get the control room to play our cut 8, listen to what Harpootlian is spinning out in the courtroom. Listen.
But doesn't this indicate to you there were two shooters? There was a shooter up here and a shooter down here. Is it a possibility? Let me say this. Is it a possibility that there are two shooters based on the data you collected?
It just indicated it was movement to me.
Movement from here all the way up to here?
I don't know that it went all the way up there.
But is it, I'm not telling you, I mean, one explanation would be movement, correct? One explanation would be two shooters. There are two guns there. One's a shotgun, one's an AR, and we now see that that AR is being shot from way up here, correct?
I can't see that. Somewhere along that line.
Could someone have been a lookout there? They went there to kill Paul, and that's the lookout. Maggie surprised them. They thought she was gone.
I have no idea.
Reasonable though, right? Right?
I wasn't there.
I know you weren't there, but none of us were there. We're trying to figure out what happened that night. And clearly, one reasonable explanation is two shooters. One explanation.
Okay, so one explanation, two shooters. What in the hey? You know, I can tell you this much. Ann Emerson, I'm going to have a t-shirt made, and it's going to say, I love Melinda Worley. Did you hear Harpootlian try to lead her down the garden path? And she was very nice about it.
Flooring contractors agree.
It does that every time. Sorry. Every time I go to like mute her the first time, it always goes back to the beginning, but I know where we were, so we'll be good. No, but I was just wanting to say that I want a Nancy Grace shirt now that says I love Nancy Grace. Why don't I have one of those? So maybe we need to make me one. Let me get back to where we were. Sorry, guys. That's too far.
That. And
Tell us what happened, Ann.
she stayed on point for sure for the state. She's been working really hard to keep what they...
It's very in the hay.
It would be shooter up here and a shooter down here. Is it a possibility? Let me say this. Is it a possibility that there are two shooters based on the data you collected?
It just indicated it was movement to me.
Movement from here all the way up to here?
I don't know that it went all the way up there.
But is it, I'm not telling you, I mean, one explanation would be movement, correct? One explanation would be two shooters. There are two guns there. One's a shotgun, one's an AR, and we now see that that AR is being shot from way up here, correct?
I can't see that though. It's somewhere along that line.
Could someone have been a lookout there? They went there to kill Paul, and that's the lookout. Maggie surprised them. They thought she was gone.
I have no idea.
Reasonable though, right? Right?
I feel like I wasn't there.
I know you weren't there, but none of us were there. We're trying to figure out what happened that night. And clearly, one reasonable explanation is two shooters. One explanation.
Okay, so one explanation, two shooters. What in the hay? You know, I can tell you this much. Ann Emerson, I'm going to have a t-shirt made, and it's going to say, I love Melinda Worley. Did you hear Harpootlian tried to lead her down the garden path? And she was very nice about it. She go, no, I didn't get that at all. Tell us what happened, Ann.
She stayed on point for sure for the state. She's been working really hard.
His name is Richard Alexander Buster Murdaugh Jr. I didn't realize that he was the junior of his dad, so I wonder if that has anything to have anything to do with, you know what I mean, like why he's still here and his son isn't, his other son.
To keep what they've been working on just on point the whole way through. You're absolutely right about that. And Harpootlian spent a lot of time this morning trying to line up angles that would have brought in just that, you know, a little glimmer of a doubt that there could be two shooters involved. Now, the state fought back on that.
Oh, they sure did. To Robert Crispin, Dr. Michelle Dupree.
Crime Stories with Nancy Grace.
Hey guys, I'm hearing in my ear, in addition to Robert Crispin, Dr. Michelle Dupree, Ann Emerson joining us, Dr. Angela Arnold, and boy, do we need to shrink, high-profile psychiatrist joining us out of the Atlanta jurisdiction. I'm hearing in my ear that now joining us also outside the courthouse is Eric Bland. He is the founding partner of Bland Richer, and you may know him more by the fact that he has been representing the Gloria Satterfield family. If you didn't know that name before today, let me tell you who Miss Satterfield was. The longtime housekeeper and nanny. She helped raise these children. Paul, now dead, and Buster, who was sitting about 4 feet in front of me in the courtroom. Eric Bland, I haven't talked about Murdaugh's grand entrance into the courtroom, but he certainly made one today. Cool, calm, collected. I noticed not wearing a wedding band. He was decked out like he should be on the front of a men's clothing catalog. And I wondered how it must feel to him Eric Bland, who's argued so many times to so many judges in this courtroom right behind me, how it feels in a courtroom where his grandfather or great-grandfather's picture was up on the wall and he has been representing so many people. Now he's sitting at the defendant's table being tried for murder, and I still don't understand why the death penalty has not been sought. That's a whole nother can of worms. What do you make of it so far, Eric Bland?
Well, I think that I think he's feeling confident. Obviously, he knows the courtroom. He feels like he knows the jury. He feels like that he has very seasoned attorneys. And this is all scripted, Nancy, as you know. The fact that his family is sitting behind him is a message to the jury. The way the cameras are set up, Buster, John Marvin, his sister, the other day Randolph, all the family members are sitting on the defense side. And I get it that Alex is innocent until proven guilty. But they know he's a thief. They know that he stole almost $10 million from clients. They know that he betrayed his law firm. He betrayed his family. He betrayed his friends. But I think what you're seeing is it's a message to the jury that they need to trust Alex because his family trusts him. Remember, the state's spending millions of dollars vindicating and championing the rights of the deaths of Maggie and Paul, but no one is sitting on the state side. Now, I get it that he is innocent until proven guilty, but this is sending a strong message. You also heard this morning, Nancy, that his law partners actually were on the crime scene the morning after the shootings. That 4 of his law partners and his brother got on the crime scene. Now, I'm telling you, you cannot do this anywhere else. Family members would never be able to be on the crime scene before it was finished. Now, Harpootlian is spending a lot of time attacking this crime scene, and rightly so. But I've never met a defense lawyer who's like the crime scene. I've never met a defense lawyer who stood up and said, hey, you know what? You guys have done everything right. I have no questions. If they took 100 pictures, he would say they should have taken 200. Let's let the state continue to build its case. It's like building a house. You got to start with the foundation so that it can fortify that house. And that's what they're doing. They brought in the person who secured the crime scene. They're putting the person to make sure they preserve the crime scene, the person who gathers the evidence, then they bring it back to the labs. Let's let the state finish out its case before we have all these people out on national TV saying, Harpootlian is doing so great, he's carving up these witnesses. These ladies that have been witnesses for the past 3 days, I think have made my state proud. They are credentialed, they are educated, they are serious, and they've done a good job. So that's what I have to say right now.
Well, hold on just a moment, Bland. Guys, with me, Eric Bland, who is representing the Gloria Satterfield family, who fell to her death, another dead body connected to the Murdaugh clan. You say that it has been said that Harpootlian is, quote, your words, not mine, carving up the state's witnesses. I object to that characterization because Harpootlian couldn't even find his documents and his pictures today. He had a whole fleet of defense attorneys sitting at the table, and not one of them could come up with the photo he's trying to show the witness. I can't tell you, it was like watching paint dry. It was excruciating, and I'll be darned if I was paying that kind of money to a lawyer.
Well, I'm telling you, every night I go on TV and I battle Mark Garagos and all the other national defense attorney minions that are out there extolling how great a job that Dick's doing. Look, I get it. He is a good lawyer. I get it. We should commend him. At 74 years old, it's not easy being a trial attorney. It's stressful, and there's a lot of work that goes into it, and he's up on his feet. And I'll give him props for that.
Could you address what I just said? He was unprepared. I'll put it out there.
I don't see him.
He was not prepared. They got out early on Friday, and come Monday morning, he still doesn't have his evidence in order. The judge had to send the jury out so Harpootlian could get it together And when they came back, he still didn't have it together. I don't think he's made a dent. I really don't.
But he is sprinkling out that there is possibly another shooter, that there is some things that should have been done on the crime scene, that there was some footprints that may have been walked over or tire tracks. I get it. They're all red herrings. It doesn't change the fact that Alex was there 6 minutes before the shootings were happened, and he said for a year and a half that he was never near the kennels. It doesn't negate the fact that he was totally clean after the police showed up, after he called 911, when he supposedly turned over a bloody body and checked Paul's pulse. There was no blood on him. There was no mud on him. He came to the property and brought Maggie there that night to supposedly go together to see the father in the hospital. Yet he leaves the property by himself.
Eric Bland. He did not bring Maggie there. He lured her there. She told her friends, uh-oh, what is Alex up to now? I smell a fish. She didn't want to go, but he lured her there.
But he doesn't even go see the father, Nancy. That was the whole purpose. He goes to see the mother. None of this adds up. Alex's timeline is blown to bits. He's now at the murder scene. The phone evidence puts him there. The voice evidence puts him there. We now know that he changed his clothes from 7:45 to 10:15. These are potent facts that need to be stressed. The only criticism I may have of the state is that they should have shown an overlay of the Moselle property. I've been there. It's very confusing, all the different roads.
Can I tell you something? I was out there looking at the Moselle property at 11:30 last night. I see what you mean. An overlay would be very, very helpful. With me is Eric Bland, high-profile lawyer, joining us here outside the courthouse. And I got to tell you something else. Let me go to Ann Emerson on this, WCIV. Watching Creighton Waters after seeing, I mean, there's really no other way to say it. I know Harpootlian had good intentions, but he was bumbling around in the courtroom. I'm telling you, they've had since last Friday, they got out early, to this morning, and they still don't have their evidence marshaled, and they've got, 5, 6 lawyers over there? But when Creighton Waters got up to conduct the next direct exam, it was like a symphony. He had everything ready to hand it to the witness, no delay. The jury perked up because finally something was happening in the courtroom. And another thing, the female lawyer, Savannah Good, not bad at all. She was good. But Creighton Waters, excellent.
I think it was a very different speed that was going on at the beginning. We were all expecting for him to come out literally on fire, Dick Harpootlian, and instead it was just this slow trickle and confusion of evidence, of exhibits, of numbers. It was a little painful at the beginning. Now, what I do think, one thing that to note is that they've been doing Agent Worley, of course, on Friday, the state has had an opportunity to really kind of run through their stuff. So they've been working hard on that. And before I forget, Nancy, I wanted you to know that something that Dick Harpootlian said in his opening statement, he said, he just kind of dropped it in there, he hopes the jury will get a chance to go out to Moselle to see it for themselves. And, as everyone kind of wraps their head around this whole huge 1,700-acre estate where this brutal attack happened, I think that's going to be a pivotal moment for the jury to be able to see how this place is laid out.
Dr. Angela Arnold is joining me also, high-profile psychiatrist out of the Atlanta jurisdiction. I've got my little trial notebook. First of all, they took away my Fitbit, so I have no idea about my steps anymore, and my cell phone. But I had this. Let me tell you what I wrote down. And I stood up to get a good look at Murdaugh in the flesh when he came in the courtroom. He's tall, thin. Unlike when he shaved his head, for what reason I don't know. He's got a full head of hair, perfectly groomed, not wearing a wedding band. very, very charming. He made a beeline to this beautiful blonde assistant. Maybe she may not be an assistant. Maybe she's a second chair lawyer. I'm not sure who she is. She could be a paralegal. And he chatted her up very exuberantly, waiting for the judge to come in. He was very charming to her. He was gesticulating, as Eric Bland said, as he spoke to her with a lot of confidence. I mean, if I was looking at a double murder charge, I would be in awe of everything happening around me, concerned, worried. He did not signal any of that, Dr. Angie Arnold.
Nancy, I think that shows us you are seeing who this man really is. That's his narcissism coming out, Nancy. He doesn't think he's going to go away from murder. He's probably convinced himself he didn't murder anybody. Okay? So what you have just described is evidence that this man is at least a complete and utter narcissist, which lends itself to why he's been able to do all of these things in his life, that everybody's like, oh my God, how can he do this? How can he do that? Because, Nancy, he is a narcissist at the very least. And you just described that as you were able to see it in the courtroom.
Also in the courtroom today, I saw the elected state attorney general for the first time he has come to the courtroom. What, if anything, does that mean, Eric Bland? I recall AG assistants coming in on some of my murder cases, because if I had gotten a conviction, they always write an amicus curiae friend of the court brief to hold the conviction. But I don't remember the elected attorney general leaving the Capitol and coming to the courthouse. What does that mean, Eric?
Well, I've been baiting him for about 10 months to come. We have not heard from him, Nancy. We haven't heard from why they charged all the financial crimes and haven't scheduled those trials and put the murder trial first. So I have gone on a lot of shows and said, it's time we either hear from Alan Wilson or he supports his troops. Look, Alex is getting a lot of support in that courtroom from family and friends. Do not kid yourself. And there's a lot of people that in this area that still have good feelings either towards Alex or the Murdaugh family. Look, I saw in court the other day something I've never ever seen before, and that is a defendant in front of the court security was able to turn around and hug and touch family members and friends. No other criminal that's charged with double murder could do that, Nancy. So I think that Alan Wilson is coming here to show the jury, to show television anchors like you, hey, I'm here to support my charges. These are my troops, and I'm proud of them.
Well, I've got to say, I don't know what Garagos is talking about on TV, but I've been looking in the courtroom, and the state has a very fine set of prosecutors, and somebody needs to sort out what Harpootlian is doing as a defense lawyer and feed him the right documents and the right evidence so he can get on with it. The judge, who I thought was very well controlled, on time, precise, handled every objection perfectly, was getting fed up with Harpootlian dragging everything out. I want you to hear more about what happened in the courtroom right now. The defense is trying to hammer in the theory that there were two shooters, but I think that the direct evidence is going to contravene that. I want you to take a listen to what they're trying to do. Harpootlian, and he knows his way around the courtroom. Don't get me wrong, he's won a lot of cases. This is about bloody footprints. Attack number 2. Listen.
Your analysis is that one set of those footwear impressions is Paul facing the back of the feed room, right?
Right.
And yet we know, and they're bloody, so he's already been shot. Has anyone discussed with you how he got faced away from where he was shot?
No.
Were the footprints smudged as if he was turning?
And there was blood dripping. He was stepping in the blood and leaving his own footwear impressions in the blood. I don't know that it was smeared necessarily.
You can't explain how he got shot in the front when he's at some point soon thereafter facing backwards.
I can't say which way he was facing when he was actually shot.
Guys, that's the woman I'm talking about, Worley, the criminalist. And there was a moment in the courtroom, Ann Emerson is joining me from WCIV, that he, Hart Pootlian, actually tried to crack a joke with her. I believe, let me check my notes, she said she was a senior criminalist, and then he tried to crack a joke with Worley about being special, like, what's special about you, something to that effect. And she just, it was like water on a duck's back to her. But the jury did not laugh. Okay, that's why you shouldn't crack jokes as a lawyer in a double murder case. The jury did not laugh along with Hart Pootlian.
Well, that was like the third time this has happened, too, that I've been counting. We had that happen. We had earlier when he referred to the handling of a cell phone as like they must have just held it like a can of pork and beans. And there was kind of that same feeling right then.
What I'm trying to say is in any way, if his goal was to make fun of her being a special agent, I don't know what, the jury didn't laugh, and I don't think they even got it. But that said, she stayed strong. She did not exhibit any emotion one way or the other. And what you were just hearing about the bloody footprints, let's get back to the actual evidence for a moment. He's saying to Worley on the stand, well, did anybody tell you which way Paul was facing when he was shot? And she said no. And Hart Pootlian acted like she should know that. She's a crime scene analyst. That's not what she's there to do. And I don't know if that was lost on the jury or if they got it. What do you think? I hear Bland jumping in. Go ahead, Eric.
Dick is trying to draft every single agent to go beyond what their job is. Well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And the answer is because it's not my job. Again, building a case and building an investigation happens in segments, in blocks, interconnected. And Worley is not the analyst. Her job is to gather evidence. She doesn't make conclusions. And Hart Pootlian was trying to score points by saying, well, why didn't you do that? And her answer is, because that's someone else's job in this investigation. And that's what I think the jury did see that. I was very impressed with Worley as I was with some of these other officers. They didn't knuckle under to Hart Pootlian's sarcasm, and they were just Jack Webb, just the facts, presented themselves, and walked off and go back and do their jobs. That's what we want with our law enforcement officers, Nancy.
I wish they wouldn't say, that's not my job, because that tends to suggest some sort of apathy, like that's not my job. But to the point of saying, well, sir, I'm a crime scene tech. My job is, and say what her job is, because she did her job, and she did a darn good job. She talks about getting a 10:33 p.m. call in the middle of the night. She gets out of bed, and she's at the crime scene at 12:07 in the morning, ready to process a double murder scene. To have them say it's not my job could make them sound apathetic, like, I'm not doing it, that's not my job. That's not at all the case. They were doing their jobs and doing a pretty good job of it.
$1 each sale.
On the trajectory path of the bullets that entered on this morning in the courthouse right beside
everyone.
Crime Stories with Nancy Grace.
Guys, we got a 3-prong attack going on this morning in the courthouse right beside me in the double murder trial of legal heir Alex Murdaugh. There is the 2-attacker theory, and that's based on the trajectory path of the bullets that entered the bodies of Paul and Maggie. We have the bloody footprint attack suggesting the state screwed up the scene. There's no nice way to put it. And we have the 3rd prong of this morning, attacks about blood on a shirt or lack thereof. Take a listen to this straight out of the courtroom.
You would agree with me that this shirt has It doesn't look like it just came back from the laundry. There's got smudges down here and generally stains here and there, correct?
Not completely clean.
And there seems to be something on the bottom that looks like a handprint, does it not?
I didn't see a handprint. That was on the body cam footage where he was wiping his face with the shirt right there.
You did this with LCV, right? That's what they call a presumptive test. It could be human blood. It could also be animal blood. It also could be detergent. Could it be something other something other than human blood?
It doesn't determine whether it's human or not.
Right. So it could be animal blood.
It's possible.
Could be detergent. Detergent oftentimes.
Bleach maybe.
Bleach. Okay.
Okay, he's talking about testing the shirt with LCD testing. Ann Emerson joining us, WCIV, ABC News. This is Harpootlian's third prong of his attack on the state's some of their most critical evidence this morning. Explain what he's trying to say.
Well, this is going to get more and more interesting because we've been privy to pre-trial motions, but what he's talking about right now is the LCD that was sprayed on the T-shirt. I don't think this is the last time he's going to talk about it either, because there was enough LCD on that T-shirt that it destroyed the T-shirt in the end, and the defense was not able to examine it like they needed to. Now, what we did here was that the test came back after the LCD, which is this sort of, do we see anything on there? And they go and they look at it with hematograph. They take it one more step further, and at that point they say no blood is found. And then he cut it off and went straight to the shorts. We did not, I feel like, got a clear end of the testimony on that, which means that he's got a lot more to say about that, is what I'm thinking from the defense. I don't think they're done yet.
Robert Crispin joining me, former DEA and Miami field officer. Crispin, thanks for being with us from CrispinInvestigations.com. What is he trying to do? What is Harpootlian trying to do with Murdaugh's shirt? Now, we know that this was a very bloody crime scene, and the shirt looked really pristine to the naked eye. What's he trying to do right here, Crispin?
Just like the trajectory of the bullet, he's trying to detract and say that there was no blood on there, when the issues are, and if we can go back for just a second, and I want to talk about the second shooter theory for just a minute, and to understand, and this is where it's going to come back and it's going to haunt the defense, because now the state knows where the defense is going on the second shooter issue, and they're going to slam it home when they put their ballistics expert out there, because to understand the velocity that a bullet comes out of an AR-15 at 3,200 feet a second, or 2,200 miles an hour, into a cage. I don't know too many cages that are made of solid steel. I think what you're dealing with, you're dealing with a ricochet. And I think that's going to come back, and that's going to haunt the defense, and that's going out, and the jury's going to see that.
Wow. I like your ricochet theory. Go ahead.
Now, let's talk about the shirt. They're trying to get the jury to hear that there was no blood on the shirt. That's what they're trying to do. But I don't care that there was no blood on the shirt. We already know everything that's been going on. My theory is he's already changed his shirt before he called law enforcement. He probably took a shower before he contacted law enforcement. And the problem with those LCD tests is, yes, they do give a presumptive test for the hemoglobins in the blood, but they also do test positive for bleach and rust. That's a problem. But it does help law enforcement on a scene when they come across bodily fluid to say, hey, yeah, that's blood. Let's go ahead and test that. Let's collect that. That could be DNA, especially like around a window of a burglary. When you have blood around a broken window, you can put that on there and you can get a positive test in the hemoglobins to show that it's blood. Right there, we can pull that and we can secure it and we can DNA test it. So when we do get a suspect, we've got your DNA inside the house with your blood during the burglary.
What about it? With me, Dr. Michelle Dupree, former forensic pathologist, medical examiner, and detective. What do you make of it, Dr. Dupree?
Well, the fact that there's no blood on, or allegedly no blood on the shirt, I don't think that's really an issue either, because we believe that he wore a jacket over that. We know that he took a jacket, a blue jacket, to his mother's house and hid it. We've heard that that has a lot of GSR on it. I wouldn't doubt if that also didn't have blood on it as well.
You know, I'm just thinking back over what has been happening in the courtroom this morning right behind me. It was a completely different tone when the prosecution took over the direct examination of the second witness that took the stand today. But I just want to follow through with the theory, Eric Bland. The presumption of innocence, of course, we all understand that. But to believe that Alex Murdaugh did not commit a double murder, Eric, we would have to believe that he was at the murder scene, about 5 or 6 minutes before the murders, and that he was back at the murder scene an hour later, and that somehow in that 1 hour time period, somebody else came in and murdered both of them and got away scot-free. Is that the theory?
That is the theory. The problem for him is that when he comes out of the house, he's going to smell gunpowder. That was an urban warfare that took on there with the 300 rifle as well as 2 shotguns. When he gets in his car, he's going to at least have heard before he got in his car the shots, or he's going to smell gunpowder. Plus, he sent numerous messages that neither Paul nor his wife answered. So I just don't understand how he thinks it's going to be reasonable for somebody to assume, yep, I left the scene of the murders, I went and saw my mother, I started creating my alibi by texting and making phone calls to a lot of different people, and then I come back and all of a sudden I decide I'm going to go to the chemicals and the kennel, and now I discover the murder scene. Nancy, I do want to address one thing. There's one thing that is stuck in my craw since Dick Harpootlian did his opening statement, and that is he said it was his honor to represent Alex Murdaugh. Now, I don't mind a defense attorney saying, I represent Alex Murdaugh and I believe he's not guilty of murder. But he knows that his client disgraced our legal profession, stole $10 million from his clients, of which I've gotten $7.5 million back for our clients. But I don't know a lawyer in the world that would stand up and say, it's my honor to represent a thief that disgraced our profession.
You just made me think of something about going to see his mother that night. Isn't the whole reason he lured Maggie to the hunting lodge was to go see the father? Wasn't the father in Savannah Memorial Medical Center? Weren't they supposed to go
died
see?
2 days later.
I thought the whole reason was to go see the dad. But
Correct.
he didn't go see the dad, and he certainly didn't take Maggie to see the dad.
You know what else is not credible, Nancy? The fact is that he said when he got in the car with the investigators, it was the boating accident. My son, Paul, had numerous death threats against him. What parent in the world wouldn't report that to the police? There's not one police report where Paul, the mother, the father reported that his life was threatened. That is not another credible explanation, Nancy.
Oh, guys, yes, I've got that teed up for you.
He is asked.
Go ahead, jump in, doctor.
Okay. So also that same night, he is asked about his relationship with Paul, and he answers something I find very strange. He says, as good as it could be. What does that mean? As good as it could be under the circumstances? I think that was a strange answer.
That's a really good point. I'm going to have to bring in our shrink on that, but I want you to hear this. Back to what Bland was just saying. Let's go out of order. I want the listeners to hear our cut 5, where on this is immediately, and I think he even says it on the 911 call, starts laying blame back to the Mallory Beach boat crash. Take a listen to our cut 5. This is Murdaugh caught on body cam video. Listen.
This is the firearm you brought from inside the house? Sir, yes, sir. I went and this is a long story. My son was in a boat wreck a few months back. He's been getting threats. Most of it's been benign stuff we didn't take serious. Okay. He's been getting punched. I know that's what it is. Okay.
Was that when you previously testified that he mentioned the boat case or the boat wreck?
That's correct. Prior to me asking him anything about it, he did mention it.
There he is at the beginning laying out a potential assailant. And I want you to hear one more thing. And guys, we have crime scene photos that were just seen in the courtroom. I will tag them whenever you put them up from the control room. But I want you to also hear, I found this really interesting in our cut 4. They are asking, oh guys, hold on, here we go. This just happened. This is the gun room inside the hunting lodge. I think there were, oh gosh, there's blood. That looks like smear to me on the wall. Here's more inside. And these are photos that were taken the night of the murders. There is blood markings there. I don't believe that's spatter. That looks to be a drip mark to me. Take a look at that on the ground. That's a trial exhibit that has just been brought into evidence and is referred to in the courtroom. These are all crime scene photos that were alluded to or used during the direct and cross-examinations we were just listening to. Now, the defense really threw a fit when this came in. They did not want the jury to know how many weapons and how many high-powered assault-type rifles and shotguns were there for some reason. They did not want the jury to see this or know about this. These are trial exhibits you're seeing. Guys, I want you to hear Murdaugh speaking. It's caught on body cam audio. This is immediately after his wife and son were found murdered by him. And I can remember, and I'm projecting right here, after my fiance was murdered, I couldn't even stand to hear the radio, the TV. I didn't want to talk to anybody. Nothing they said was
I was pulling up pictures and stuff, so I was trying to see if like I could find the pictures and overlay them, but I don't think that's going to let me. But let me go back and see. Sorry. My sign is going crazy back there. I'm going to turn my camera off because my camera is acting funky, so. I was going to try to find you some pictures and then I'll go ahead and play this while I'm looking for them. Because I thought I could put them over like the Nancy Grace thing and then you guys wouldn't have to just sit there and look at Nancy the whole time.
Making any sense to me. And right in the middle of them asking about it, somebody walks by and goes, hey man, how you doing? I want you to hear this. Take a listen to our cut 4.
What's her name? Her name's Maggie Murdaugh. Margaret Brandstetter Murdaugh. How you doing?
What's her birthday?
Pause it right there. What did the defendant just say? Let me back it up.
Margaret Brandstetter Murdaugh. How you doing?
What did the defendant say right there?
So while I'm in the process of gathering information about the 2 victims from Mr. Murdaugh, somebody walks by behind me and he pauses what he's telling me to say, hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
Yeah.
And who was that he said that to?
I'm not 100% certain. I believe it was a fire rescue individual.
Okay, can I bring in our shrink? And I mean that in a loving and caring way. Dr. Angie, and I know I'm projecting and everyone acts differently, but I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink, I couldn't think after Keith was murdered. And here a guy's walking by and goes, hey man, how you doing? His wife and son are lying there with their brains at their feet. He's like, hey man, what?
Yeah, like what? Seriously, what was he thinking? I couldn't even imagine my loved ones laying on the ground and trigger warning, their brain matter is literally at their feet. And he is saying hi to EMS. Like, hey, how you doing? Things are fine, you know. Things are fine over here. You know, just my wife and son, you know, just got shot. But no, how are you doing? How's your day? That is just the craziest to me.
Nancy, you are so right about that.
Dang.
It shows how detached he is from what happened. And again, smoke and mirrors, like everyone is talking about. How in the world could you take your mind off of this and just go, hey, how you doing? You could never do that. And I do realize that everyone reacts differently to things, Nancy, but not in such a cavalier fashion. You would not see that kind of behavior from someone who was truly upset and truly attached to the individuals that were murdered in front of him.
I'm circling back to our guest. Ann Emerson is joining me straight out of the courtroom, joining us WCIV. Ann, give us a recap of what has happened this morning once Harpootlian got his papers in order. That took about the first, I would say, 35 minutes at least.
That's correct. Yeah, once we got through the cross on Agent Worley, we were able to learn a little bit more about what was going on with, as far as what the defense was trying to accomplish here. As we've discussed, they were trying to establish that the crime scene was not preserved and secured in a way that would rule out other shooters, other people being on the scene. That's something he's been doing for the last few days of testimony since the very beginning, really. And they also really wanted to make sure that everybody knew about the blood stains. And once they got through the T-shirt being clean, and how could somebody with a T-shirt that's clean could have been part of such a brutal attack, we got into what was going on with the prosecution. The state has fought back. They came back with a lot of evidence. Not only what we talked about with the cell phone evidence, they're really narrowing that timeline, because we know that Paul was a young person. He used his phone all the time. At 8:44, he talks to his buddy. And then 8:59, when his buddy tries to call him back, this is evidence that's already getting put in, on the record. He doesn't answer. And Maggie doesn't answer.
Hold on just a second, Ann. I want to nail down that time. I've got so many notes I took, but you just said it perfectly. What time does Alex Murdaugh, what time does he say, well, no, let me nail it down even better. What time is the Snapchat that Paul sends his friend? And we heard a little bit about that this morning. It seems that Paul was taking care of a friend's dog, and the dog had some type of an injury. That is a Snapchat video that everyone's wanted to know what's the content. The friend asked him, I think his name was Rogie. Oh, here we go, right here. Rogie Gibson. And he asked Paul, just take a video and send it to me. So Paul takes the video, and in that video, it's very clear that Alex Murdaugh is there. What time was that video sent, Ann?
Well, we were told in the opening statements, they talked about the cell phone video. And that would have been what you're talking about, this Snapchat. And we're waiting to see, I think we're waiting to still hear a little bit more details about that. What I heard in testimony today was the phone call that Paul made to Rogan Gibson at 8:44 p.m. And at 8:49, Rogan replied. Obviously, they're talking about this injured dog, and he goes back and says that Marion wants to take it to a vet, try to get him to sit and stay, and don't want him to be moving around. And that was to Paul from Rogan. And then that was a text. And then, he doesn't hear anything. He sends, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 phone calls from Rogan to Paul after that, starting at 9:10 p.m. And 9:58 sends another text. He tries to reach Maggie, doesn't happen. So it really narrows that timeline. And I think that Snapchat video is going to be that Poland one that the prosecution's hoping to bring in to really make it obvious that something bad happened in a matter of 5 minutes. And this was...
Oh, in just a few moments, because the way I've got it written down, and Ann, correct me if I'm wrong, to Eric Bland, veteran trial lawyer who's representing the Gloria Satterfield family, that they were going back and forth about the video of the dog at 8:44. At 9 o'clock sharp, that's what I've got in my notes, calls from the friend Rogue and Gibson were unanswered. And that is when I think we have our time of the killings at 9 o'clock. He kept trying to text him and call him, and finally at 9:34, Eric Bland, he texts Maggie to tell Paul to call me. And Maggie also does not respond. So between 8:44 and 9 o'clock, 2 murders went down. That's the way I see it, Eric Bland.
Yeah, at 7:45 is when the Snapchat was, Nancy, and that shows Alex in a different set of clothes from what we understand. And then there was a video that was taken right before Paul died that he sent to his friend showing the tail on the dog was injured. And Alex's voice is in that video. And Creighton Wooder said he believes the time of death happened around 8:54 because at 8:55 the phones of Paul and Maggie went dead.
Okay, hold on just a moment. You just dropped a bombshell on me right there, Eric Bland. And anybody on the panel, jump in. Could you repeat what you said about Alex Murdaugh having on different clothes in the video than what he had on when the cops got there?
In the Snapchat at 7:45, supposedly we're going to see that he had on different clothes, long pants and a different shirt. Now when the police showed up after the 911 call at 10 o'clock, after 10 o'clock, he was wearing a white t-shirt and those green olive khaki shorts. So we're going to have possibly a change of clothes taking place. Before the murders, he was wearing one thing. After the murders, he was wearing another thing. And don't forget, he took a blue coat to his mother's house 2 days later. I don't know who does that. I don't go take a coat and hide it at my mother's house 2 days after my wife and son, God forbid, are murdered. Plus, there's this seatbelt that's now in evidence from his Suburban. And we know that there's GSR on there, and I'm banking on, Nancy, that there's going to be blood on there. Because I don't think that Creighton Wooders is going to go through the whole shirt, the fact that the shirt possibly is now ruined and couldn't be tested by the defense. I don't think Bevel's going to come in because I think that was a Trojan horse that Creighton Wooders was setting Dick up on. Dick focused on that T-shirt for 3 months. And I think there's other credible, cogent evidence of blood that'll be on that seatbelt and on other places in the car, and also the amount of GSR on the coat and the seatbelt.
And I've got a question.
Crispin.
Would they try and put a seatbelt on? Who puts his seatbelt on to go up to get the 12-gauge shotgun at the house? I mean, that would be literally the only time that would make sense for Alex Murdaugh to have that seatbelt get any kind of residue on it, right? I mean, you would literally have to be going from discovering the bodies to getting the 12-gauge shotgun and coming back. And that is the only thing I think the defense has if they see anything on that seatbelt.
Well, what about from leaving the crime scene to go to his mother's house?
Yeah, if there's GSR and blood on it, then he's got a big problem.
And at what time was the 911 call made?
And do we know the time of the 911?
10:06.
I want to go to Robert Crispin, private investigator joining us, former DEA and homicide. Robert Crispin, there is no eyewitness here, and many people argue it's just circumstantial. Under the law, the black and white letter of the law, which will be read to the jury during jury instructions, circumstantial evidence is to be considered, under the law anyway, as powerful as direct evidence. Of course, the jury, it's their sole province to determine the facts and the law however they see fit. But it's not just the wardrobe change that Eric Bland was pointing out. It's not just the gunshot residue. It's not just him being at the scene 5 minutes before the murders, and then he comes back and whoops, they're dead. It's not just his demeanor. Each one of these, a brick in the wall, building the case for the state. all taken together. I mean, how in the heck, why would you have a wardrobe change?
Well, these are all pieces of the puzzle that are going to put the picture together at the end when this is all over. We have the video. We have the voice on the video. We've got the change of clothes. We've got the blue jacket that went to the mom's house with gunshot residue on it. We've got the seatbelt with the gun residue on it. Every single one of these are going to be a piece of the puzzle that's going to come down to the end, and it's going to be a crystal clear picture for the jury. This is exactly why the defense is trying to do their best to create a diversion. And this is what defense lawyers do. They create a diversion when the facts are against them. So you're going to see in time as this plays out, and obviously there's a lot more to come, that puzzle is coming together. And I think at the end of this, I don't even think this jury's going to deliberate very long. I think they're going to come right back with the right decision.
We didn't even discuss the ballistic evidence, the cartridge evidence that the jury is going to hear. So, Ann Emerson, if you could give us your takeaway from today, what would it be?
Well, I think that it just keeps on coming back to the fact that there was a very little time for two killers, a large crime scene that was unfolding with Alex still in the house. It's a tough mountain to climb for the defense to be able to say that he wouldn't have heard or smelled or witnessed anything happening down by the kennels within that period between the time that the murders happened and when he went to his mother's, which we know is at 9:06 p.m. because that's when his car turned on. So as far as what they've introduced so far, so there's a very tough timeline to fight here for all of the crime scene that may have been disturbed that night. I think that the prosecution is doing a pretty solid job of saying the things that were disturbed, it's okay. It didn't change the way we have been looking at this case. And I think that's my big takeaway. Also, I think it's very hard to get around the fact about the ballistics, what you just said, the gun evidence that's coming into play, the fact that the same type of guns, the same type of ammo were found in the house right off the bat. That's going to be very hard for the jurors to forget or even make it okay unless someone else has full access to their house for ammo.
Another thing that struck me, Dr. Angie Arnold, and if I could get the control room to put up, oh, there he is. That was the last witness before the lunch break right there. If I could get you guys to put up those crime scene photos again. When they showed and the whole courtroom cannot see the evidence. I just happened to be able to look over some people's shoulders as I was sitting there and see on their computers what the jury was seeing. And I looked at that blood spatter and the blood smear, Dr. Angie, and I looked at the jury and they were just staring at that blood because that blood was the life's blood of the mother Maggie and the son Paul. And I looked over at the defendant and he did not even blink an eye. I mean, nothing. Sometimes when I even look at my dad's picture, it chokes me up because I remember I was there in the room when he died. I mean, Murdaugh didn't even bat an eye looking at the blood of his son and his wife all over a dog kennel.
Wow. You know, Nancy, again, like I said, people say that he had such a close relationship with his wife. I don't believe he was as attached to his wife and his son as they want us to believe.
Well, I've got a pretty good feeling that if they bring that up in their case in chief for the defense, the state is going to have a rebuttal case to that. Guys, I'm hearing in my ear they're counting me down. I guess that means I'm going back into the courtroom. We're live outside the Murdaugh trial, and the evidence is unfolding fast and furious. Thanks for being with us, everybody. I'll see you.
Okay, so I think that she'll probably end up putting out another episode probably tonight, I would say. But yeah, so if you are late on this case, this is the case to be watching. Really, it really is. He's been charged with like almost 100 different charges. His family's been in these counties for years, almost 100 years. They've been in either they were a judge or a prosecutor for this county, for these, like all these counties. There's like 4 different counties, I believe. So he's been charged with like embezzlement, drugs, murder, weapons. He attempted to unalive himself. That's not a charge. That's just him being a dumbass. So he has that one too. I don't know how he's going to get around the Snapchat. If his voice is on the Snapchat and it was taken minutes before, seconds before these murders happened, and he said he wasn't there, I don't know how he's going to get around that evidence. Even if he gets around all the evidence in the murder trials, I still don't know how he's going to get around all the evidence in all the other cases. Let's see here. There's a couple other things I was going to show you guys that I saw last night. So I didn't know if you guys got a chance to see any of this stuff, but it was just, just this is day 7 that we're on. So this was like a recap of day 6 and the forensics and stuff that kind of happened in the trial. Oh yeah, she's going to be in court all week. I love watching Nancy in court too. She is like staring people down.
You literally spend all day inside that courthouse, and then you're nice enough at 10 o'clock at night to come and talk to me. I've outlined a couple of things, Andrew, but I'm not even sure which one was the most powerful, which one the jury sort of leaned forward for, or which one they were starting to gloss over and wondering, when they're getting their sandwiches.
Well, I think you're looking at the tape at the end with Alec. I know we sort of start at the end to get there, but once again, hearing Alec's voice, understanding his emotion during that interview with law enforcement was truly impressive on all counts, because we hadn't heard Alec cry about Maggie yet. He had cried about Paul in a previous interview, never really had that emotion for Maggie, and showed it multiple times during that interview. But there's also some things in there that don't really make sense that prosecutors are going to take advantage of. Earlier in the day, too much forensic evidence, too many things about going in shell casings. This jury's heard so much, hours and hours of shell casings already, and they're incredibly important, but you're going to have to find a way to make sure they appreciate it so they don't gloss over immediately when they start to hear it. And then, of course, when, like you said, they pull out those guns, that's an impressive show when you see 3 guns, especially that rifle, which really is a serious piece of equipment. And you could see they were a little bit taken back about the fact, even if some of them are hunters, to see a gun like that in the middle of the courtroom.
Well, and the thing that's so weird, right, especially for me who covers, murder cases all the time for a living, is that we're not looking at the murder weapons. Usually they bring out the murder weapon and there's this sort of ghastly pall that falls over the courtroom because everybody knows what that gun did. But that is not this. It's still striking. But the jury's having to come up with, okay, I got to accommodate here. This is a hunting lodge, so there's going to be a lot of weaponry. It's going to be a lot of shells, not the least of which are the murder shells. And then where's the murder weapon? So it's all a bit confusing. It's all a bit jarring. And then you mentioned it. You actually get to hear Alex's voice. And I'm not sure if this is exactly the same one, but I did love this moment when he was talking to investigators. He actually was talking about his son, Paul. He mentioned about Paul's ADHD, and then he kind of had this comment. And Andrew, I'm going to let you be the judge and the viewers be the judge of how the jury is going to take this comment, because I know how the prosecutors took it, and I know how they want the jury to take it. But let's see if our viewers take it the same way. So let's play this one about I did him so bad. Take a look.
It was just so bad. I did it so bad.
When you asked the defendant about the traumatic picture that he saw of Paul and Maggie, what did he say?
It's just so bad. I did him so bad.
I did him so bad.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Andrew, it depends on if you hate the guy or you love it, right? Well, thank you. That is exactly, because in one circumstance, it's I did him so bad I should have been there for him. I let my son die. And then the other is I sure did, mess up his skull. So how did the jury take it?
Well, go back to the jury first. It's going to be interesting to see exactly how they took it, because in the room, in the media room and everywhere else, it's that new, what did you see? The blue dress or the green dress, I guess it was at the time. Same idea. Some people are hearing they did him so bad. Others are hearing I did him so bad. But prosecutors want to make sure that the jury heard I did him so bad. And they even reinforced it there. And the jury heard that loud and clear. This is their push now to really push the fact of Alec was there. Not just there's a bunch of evidence, but Alec was the one, and that Alec did things, and that was his slip up. And it's the beginning of him lying to people, because the next step is just before that, he was talking about the fact that he hadn't seen his family since supper was the last time, about 8:15. But they're going to bring out a video that shows absolutely he was there with Paul and Maggie much later in that, which gets him back to, is he lying? Did he just forget? What may it be? And now defense is going to have to come back and support their client and make this jury understand that maybe he's just traumatized and not lying about it, and maybe he didn't pull that trigger after all.
Okay, but I mean, I look at that also like the blue dress or green dress, because he's a lawyer, so he knows better than to lie at a murder scene about where he was. But then again, he's a lawyer, so he probably knows right away that he's suspect number one. And dear Lord, I better not give up that I was right here at the murder scene, or they're going to totally think it's me. But so this will be really interesting litigation once his lawyers, have to climb out of that hole. Okay, the internet broke. Thank you for watching.
It is. I was reading your guys' comments. It is a sad situation. I was going to say something, and then I was listening to her, and it completely slipped my mind what I was going to even say. Now I can't remember. That's okay. I'm going to play the next video that I have for you guys, and maybe I'll think of it. Let me share this with you here. Yeah, so I have my camera on, but it was messing up earlier, so now I have to wait for Vincent to get home to fix it, because I don't know how to do that. I'm like, I don't even know how to work this thing yet. And then I tried to plug in my webcam, and then like when we were on the Nancy podcast, that's why I wasn't talking a whole lot, because my screen went blank, and I was like, are you kidding? I was having some tech problems, but that's okay. We are doing good now, so. If you guys are just now joining us, we are going over the Murdaugh trial. We're going over the first week, just kind of getting prepared for this. This is the 7th day, so we're going up to day 6. And Nancy Grace is in the gallery, or I guess that's what you call it. She's in the courthouse today, in the courtroom. She's going to be there all week. So we listened to the Nancy Grace podcast. If you weren't here for the first half of the live, it is on there for you guys to listen to if you'd like to listen to that. Also, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to the channel, if you do like true crime, and if you wouldn't mind liking the video, that way it sends into the algorithm, because for some reason it's not sending it out there today. Normally I can see my videos if I go on the live tab, and I don't see them today, so very strange. But this one is just talking about the defense team for the Murdaugh, and for the Murdaugh murders, and you know how the defense is suggesting that it is 2 shooters because there are 2 different weapons. We did a poll earlier, and most of you guys, almost all of you guys, I think it was like 84%, believe that it was just a single shooter, which I believe that too. And I'll turn this up so that way it doesn't blast your ears, because I know Kumo, sometimes he gets animated.
So we have criminal trial attorney Sarah Azari.
What the heck?
And high-profile defense attorney Mark Garagos. It's good to have you both. So let's deal with what was just laid out. Sarah, I'll start with you. Compressing the timeline certainly shows the urgency of Paul's friend Rogan, but what does it do in terms of the case to establish that Alex Murdaugh is the one who did it?
Nothing. I mean, like I've been saying, and Mark's been saying too, we got to put the murder weapons in his hands, and their best evidence was that blood spatter that was, the T-shirt that was destroyed. And then, Chris, also you have to look at the context of this whole thing. They did a horrible job with the crime scene. They didn't contain the crime scene. That yellow tape that you see on CSI, that's a real thing, right? Because it goes to the tainting of the evidence. And then they didn't process the scene properly. There were deputies' footprints, and then by admission on cross-examination, the officer said, we're not really supposed to walk through the crime scene, but we did. Oops. You know, I mean, they didn't collect blood, that they didn't test for blood. There's just so much that they really messed up with this crime scene. And so
I'm going to pause her for a minute because we saw that was the day that we sat here and we watched like all eight or 9 hours of court that day. And those officers, the two officers that were the first two deputies, they were on the stand, they stepped where they were supposed to be stepping. Obviously, you have to step somewhere. You can't just hover around a crime scene, just hover over it like a drone. They did state that they didn't put booties on. At the same time, I don't know why they would even put booties on if they're outside, and I think it was like wet out. I don't really know what that would even do in that kind of material anyway, to put booties on. I don't know. And I know that for a fact, they used to anyway, officers and all of that, they used to wear the same shoe. That way you could tell the difference if it was an officer that stepped there or if it was a perpetrator or a victim that had stepped in that spot. When you see the shoe imprint, like they all wear the same type boots. So unless the person that murdered these people had the same type boots on, they should be able to distinguish the perpetrator from the officer. They are meant to wear protective clothing and stuff at a crime scene. I'm assuming that these officers never saw anything like this before. And they probably, I don't think that they were like stepping on the bodies though, because they even said by their own admission, they could tell by looking at them from a distance that there was nothing coming back. There was no life-saving measures for them. It's just kind of, I don't know. Yeah, they still do. It'll say police on the bottom of them too. Okay. That's what I thought. Yeah. Like, I think they're issued to you. So they would be able to tell the difference between the shoe prints. Like if someone's wearing, like, let's say a Vans shoe or something, you know. Oh, and that's what I was going to say earlier. That's what it was. So isn't it ironic that we have two huge cases going on right now? The Murdaugh trial, the Idaho 4. Both of the guys that are on trial are supposed to be experts in crime scenes and experts in, like, you know, trials, murder, mayhem. And they're the ones that are making the dumbest mistakes. Or are they? Maybe it's not them. I mean, you know, allegedly so. The t-shirt being destroyed is very suspicious. That is just something I can't wrap my head around.
Again, I think science matters here. It's about the forensics, and they're really weak on that.
So you have the idea of, hey, you didn't do it right, and it doesn't all line up the way it's supposed to, balanced with the, yeah, but it had to be him. And that vibe was fed by one particular piece of evidence today. Let me play a clip.
It was just so bad. I did it so bad.
You asked the defendant about the traumatic picture that he saw of Paul and Maggie. What did he say?
It's just so bad. I did him so bad.
I did him so bad.
Yes, sir.
Mark Garagos, I did him so bad. What does that mean in the case?
Yeah, I think, look, it can be interpreted any way you want. I did him so bad could be the way I raised him. I did him so bad could be, I could give you 10 different interpretations of that. The fact is today, at least, as being reported, I know we had a journalist on just now, but the cross-examination by Mr. Harpootlian clearly suggested and gave, if you want to talk about reveals, talk about stepping on the lead of the cross-examination, was that it was consistent with a second shooter, number one. It was consistent with somebody trampling through the crime scene, who they now are going to blame on one of the techs, I suppose.
Hold on a second. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that because I was very intrigued by it. I don't know how it helps him, and I want you to explain that to me. But hold on, don't go running past this. I did him so ugly, or I did him so bad. Sarah, yes, it could be taken a lot of different ways. Garagos is right, as always.
Yeah, I did him so bad.
Fresh after your son is dead, and you're at the scene, and you say, I did him so bad.
But Chris,
that is not as broad a palette of interpretation.
first of all, if this was going to remotely be a confession, why didn't these officers ask some follow-up questions? They didn't. It's vague. And by the way, I did him so bad, take it in the context of what else he said. He was saying that it could be related to somebody from the boating accident, right? I did him so bad could mean I didn't protect him. I didn't do what I can as a father to protect him against all these threats that are going around. So we can't take this out of
All right. So now we get to this big move today. So they show the crime scene photos, and obviously that's going to have impact because you see all the blood and how close the bodies were. The defense offers up the following theory: the bodies are close together because they were shot at the same time. And that's because if one shooter had done it, the other person would have run away. And the fact that they were both shot in such close proximity shows that it had to be two people to do this. It couldn't be just one. Mark Garagos, why does that help, Alex?
I have a theory. Couldn't he have had both guns at the same time? One's on the ground, one's in his hand. He shoots the shotgun or the rifle, whichever first, drops it, picks up the other gun as the other person's running and shoots. Like, bam, bam. If you're going to have two guns, like, I don't know. That two guns is weird. But if you're a lawyer and you're thinking right, two guns, could mean they can interpret that as meaning two shooters. A lot of people would interpret that as meaning two shooters. And then right here, it does say that Maggie Murdaugh was shot 5 times with the rifle. She was found face down. Paul Murdaugh was shot twice with the shotgun. Trigger warning, his brain was, outside of his body. And he was found face down as well. That's why I think that they were both shot from behind. But that I don't know for sure.
Alex Murdaugh.
Well, there's been no evidence whatsoever that there were two people until this cross-examination. Remember what the definition of reasonable doubt is. The definition of reasonable doubt is, are there two reasonable interpretations? One pointing towards guilt, one pointing towards innocence. They don't have to be the same. They can just be reasonable. If one points towards innocence, then you must acquit. And that is what Mr. Harpootlian is laying out, that they don't have a theory that has somebody else involved. They don't have a person who's saying, I was there, I helped him do this, or I watched him do this. What they do have, however, is
News Nation.
says, what's the point of all these guns being admitted? I don't get it. Jasmine asks, I'm so confused with all the guns and all the ammo. How does one make sense of all that stuff? So explain to the viewers why we're seeing all of these guns admitted that didn't have anything to do with the crime.
Well, I'm not.
Sorry, guys. I didn't add myself to the dang stream. You would think I've never done a live before, but I have, I swear. We're just having one of those days. Is it Monday? Because I could have sworn it was not Monday. I could have sworn we were like, working towards Tuesday here. Yeah, so I didn't add myself to the stream. I just noticed that. So, no, I wasn't really saying much of anything. So, it doesn't matter. You knew me. I'm always like, I wasn't saying too much. I just have like the funkiest like mouse ever. It just wants to keep just taking me out of the studio and stuff. So basically, I was going to show you this here. I'm talking about Buster being like the alleged, second shooter. If we're going to go by, the defense and what they think. And then I think there's one more thing I wanted to show you guys. So I'm going to show you this one here first.
Not entirely sure where the prosecution's going, but I'll speculate. The prosecution is establishing that the type of guns that committed these murders were at and available at the Murdaugh residence. He had those type of guns, he had that kind of ammunition, and I suppose the prosecution's theory is he had other similar guns with which he committed the murders, and I'm interested to hear exactly what the prosecution's theory is for what became of those guns. Presumably he would have had to dispose of them. But remember, we're still in the first few days of the trial, so as this evidence comes in, as some of these exhibits are submitted into evidence, we don't have all of the building blocks yet. We have to let the prosecution do their thing and connect it all.
And let me chime in on that a little bit. After one of the objections by Jim Griffin, Creighton Waters responded and said, we have to show how thorough we were in this investigation. We looked at the ammunition used in this case, the type of weapons likely used. We see 300 blackouts, old ones laying by the house. So this type of ammunition was obviously used on the property at other points in time. We have a missing AR-style blackout rifle. We heard about that in opening statements, so that we didn't see today because it's never been recovered. And so they have to admit all of this evidence to show, look, we tested everything. We went through that house and looked for all the guns. So that's kind of part of what they're doing here. It's tedious and it's kind of, it can be a little boring, but they have to kind of present all this evidence and admit it. This is just part of the process. So it's not all like, Law and Order or whatever and CSI. It's not all sparkly all the time. So that's why they're doing it the way they are doing it. I want to go to you, Gigi. You were in the courtroom with me this morning for a little while. Linda May Callenstein, asks, the crime scene technicians and police are painted as amateurs by the defense. Can the prosecution come back from this? And we really, you and I, expected Dick Harpootlian to really attack Agent Worley's processing of the scene and the collection of evidence during the cross-examination, and that's what happened. So what's your take, or what are you seeing as that happened, the cross-examination, and then the redirect? What was your take?
Well, I think it just gives the defense an opportunity to really point out that this crime scene had everybody all over it. And not only that, they're not taking good photographs of what could have been a footwear impression on Maggie Murdaugh's leg. That's a big deal. They were talking about the photographs of Paul's shoe prints not being good enough as far as the quality of the picture. Then you have all these agents on scene. It's dark. Who knows what they're stepping on? So I think that the defense is going to really pound on this. And then further, he got the witness to admit, yeah, there could have been two shooters, which could have introduced some reasonable doubt. So I think it's a really big deal that this crime scene was handled the way it was. It gives the defense something to really grab onto and run with, I think.
And that's what defense attorneys do, right? They attack the evidence. That's how they defend these cases. They look for mistakes because it's the state's job to present a tight case. And so the defense attorneys are doing what defense attorneys do. I'm going to ask you, Tracy, I'm just wondering what you think of this. If there were two shooters involved, could Buster have been a part of the double murder? Tracy, what are your thoughts on that, the possibility of two shooters? And I would assume that SLED would have investigated that possibility at length since there were two weapons used.
So that's a great question. I'm a former FBI agent as well. And so I think in terms of, yeah, I've done both. That's surprising. So I think that, in my opinion, Buster is probably not involved in this crime. He was probably one of the first people cleared as a suspect, to be completely honest. I also think, though, that I've always thought about the possibility of two shooters because what is one of the most unusual things about these crime scenes is the two different kinds of guns that were used. And it really could have been that blackout rifle may have jammed. I don't know. But to use the blackout rifle and then the shotgun, that's unusual. I've investigated cases where there's been multiple shooters using multiple weapons, but I don't know that I've ever seen one where a singular person used two really both weapons that you really can't put on your person. You'd have to actually put down one and pick up the other. I'm not saying there are two shooters involved, but I do think this is something that they could use to really sow some reasonable doubt in the jury.
And Tracy, I'm glad you brought that up because Gigi and I were actually talking about that this morning. I feel like, and Tracy, since you've been a CIA agent and an FBI agent, which, wow, on the resume, I just have to say that, I would think, and this is just me speculating as I've only fired guns at shooting ranges and things like that, and it's been a while, but I would think you'd have to literally have ice water running through your veins, ice water and adrenaline pumping, and you'd almost have to have some training to take out two people at once, being one person using two different weapons. I mean, just the thought process of that, having fired, rifles and guns since I've done that. I've never fired a shotgun, but I'm just thinking in my head what that would take. Tell us what that would take because I find it hard to believe, and I'm not saying it's not possible that there could be one shooter, but two certainly seems more likely, even though the state says that's not what happened.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I've always felt that really since the beginning of this. So when I served in Afghanistan, I did carry an M4, which is similar to that blackout that we're talking about. And so that's obviously, it's a large weapon, right, that you're wearing on your person. It's not particularly heavy, but it's a large and bulky weapon. So really, the person would have to shoot with that. It doesn't have much of a kickback. And quite frankly, targeting is pretty easy with it. But I don't think you need much training, but you would then need to put it down, go and get the shotgun, which is bulky and difficult to fire if you've never fired it before. Really, shots can go all over the place because of the kickback that.
I don't know why she keeps saying she's saying something about how hard it would be. I don't understand that because it wouldn't be hard for him to shoot a gun or a rifle or a shot and pick up a shotgun. They're hunters. They hunt. If you're trying to, I don't know if you guys have ever seen a deer run, but they can run. The deer, they can run. I do have this volume up all the way, and then I have my other volume on my computer up all the way. I think it might just be this video that's maybe a little low, but I'll double check and everything on my audio. But let me know if it's any better.
That gun gives, and they're heavy, so you would need to go and pick that up, and to really see that someone would have scurried, run all over the place, in trying to get away from that. I think the whole thing is just really interesting, and it really, in my opinion, boils down to the fact that it was two different guns. I'd have a much easier time believing it was a single shooter if it was the same type of gun, or if it was that blackout weapon and then perhaps a handgun that someone could carry on their person.
It really is a confounding point. Let's get to another question. This one's from Team Sofer from YouTube. Question, Rich, I'll send this one to you. How much of a heads up does the defense get on the evidence? Are there any surprises, or is it all disclosed to them in discovery?
It should be disclosed in discovery. They ought to have, first of all, the prosecution really can't put on exhibits that haven't been given to the defense in advance or witnesses that haven't been disclosed to the defense. There ought to be, all of that should have been produced in discovery, should have been laid out in some kind of pretrial submission. And generally speaking, day to day, you get some sort of heads up as to who the next witnesses are going to be.
That's typically how it works. And of course, all of the evidence is that they're going to be presenting at trial. You know, there's that old saying, there shouldn't be any surprises coming from the witness stand, but we know sometimes that there are. We're going to take a quick break now, but keep your questions coming to us both on Twitter.
I have a question, and I'm sure you guys could answer it. I'm sure Teresa might even know the answer to this. Now I can't remember my single question. You guys, I'm like all over the place today. Let me see. Where were we just at? Okay. I'm going to rewind her for a minute because it was like right here.
That's typically how it works. And of course, all of the evidence is that they're going to be presenting at trial. You know, there's that old saying.
That's what it was. Sorry, guys. So was the I can't think of the guy's name that shot Murdaugh whenever he was trying to unalive himself to get the insurance money. Was that guy out of jail or out of prison when the murders happened with Paul and Maggie? Because I could see maybe the defense trying to go that way if they possibly could. My dog's out there barking. I don't know what she's barking at. Was it a cousin of him? Yeah, I couldn't remember. I can't remember the guy. Is his name Steven? I have it wrote down probably somewhere. Yeah, because that's a good, because I haven't heard the defense say anything about him, but that would be one way for the defense to go. No, think he was in prison. Yeah, I would think we would hear about it by now if that's what they were planning on trying to do. But I don't know. This is a really interesting case. Hold on one second. I don't know what that dog is barking at, but I know she's standing on the bed right now doing it. She's looking out the back door, probably barking at somebody just walking. Oh, he was in prison. I know. I can't remember his name either right now. I don't want to go through all my notes because I have you guys should see stacks on stacks on stacks of notes. And I have a binder full of, stuff. But if you guys didn't catch the live yesterday, make sure you go back and you watch that live. We covered 8 different case updates. We did a lot of updates on yesterday's live, I feel like. I think that's all I really have to show today. I have some other videos, but they're just we kind of went over everything, I believe. And then Nancy, of course, she came out with the crime stories last night. I saw it right when I was doing all my research for this, for today. What am I going to talk about today? What are we going to do today? And all that stuff. I saw that. I was like, are you kidding, Nancy? Of course you came in and saved the day. Yeah, so he did admit that Alex paid him to do it. Yeah, so I don't even know why Alex wasn't charged with something. Isn't that his cousin Curtis? It could have been Curtis. I don't know why I was thinking Steven. I don't know where I was getting Steven from. Oh, Steven was the guy that that was killed in the middle of the road. Wow, there are so many twists and turns to this case, guys. They're gonna have to make another docu-series. We're gonna have to watch that 3-part series on this because it's so crazy. I how you can forget about something so quick because there's just so much stuff going on. My dogs are actually being good now. They must have heard me tell them to be quiet. But I am curious to see what he said. If he said, I did it or they did them. And now that that lady talked about it as in she put it into context in a different way, stating that I keep reading the chat and keep forgetting what I'm talking about today, guys. My brain is going to be shut off. I'm going to go take a nap, I think. Because I keep looking at this picture and I keep reading your guys' chat. I'm like, what is this Belle saying? You need to start taking notes. I need to start taking notes. I didn't really take any notes today, so I'm all off track. But yeah, he does have over almost 100 charges on him. So it's definitely a case to follow if you'd like to follow it. I do want to follow some of the court proceedings. I just can't sit here all day and watch them all day. I'll fall asleep on you guys. We did that for 8 hours one day, and that was we went hard. Harsh Reality, today he tried to stream the live for the court hearing, and I'm like, how's Harsh going to do that? Because Harsh doesn't usually do long lives, but he lasted 55 minutes, and I was watching it, and he was talking about how his wife is impatient, and I thought that's me to a T. But I admit that's like my fault. I'm one of those people, I'm not good at like standing in lines. Like, I mean, if I have to do it, I do it. I don't make a fuss. But if I don't have to, that's even better, But they are on day 7 of the trial. I wonder how long this will go. I don't even know. Yeah, Harsh lasted 55 minutes. It was so funny. 33 minutes until like 33 minutes. He had to sit there before court started. And I was like, what's he talking about? He was just, it was funny. Because you know how some people, they're good at pre-recordeds and they're, I mean, I think he's good at lives, not saying he's not, but no, I think he's just like, some people are better at pre-recordeds. They're used to doing pre-recordeds. And then when they go live, they're like, wait a minute, this is live. Me now, on the other hand, we all know I may have some technical problems or I say something crazy, but that's just part of the live. And that's what makes it fun. Plus, I like to talk to you guys in person or like, not in person, but like, over the computer. It makes it more personal to me. But I do also do pre-recordeds, if you don't know that, if you're new to the channel. I do a lot of pre-recordeds. I used to do a lot, actually, but I stopped doing them. I started doing more lives because when we hit the Idaho 4 case, it was like something was coming out every minute. To where if I was making pre-recordeds, I would never leave the house. Like, I would never leave this room, which I don't anyway. But today we had camera problem, but I don't know what's going on with that camera. It's brand new. It's very expensive, but I haven't touched it yet, really. Vincent was like, don't touch it. I got you this, but don't touch it. I was like, okay, which I treat my stuff really good. He was just kidding, by the way, when he said that. So he called me when we were on Nancy, when we were on the Nancy podcast, he was trying to talk me through how to fix the camera, and I kept kind of messing it up. Oh my gosh, I do. Someone needs to make me a video full of bloopers. Like, I'm not good at editing stuff like that. Someone needs to do that. That'd be so funny. Because I've had some, especially in the beginning, we've went through, and the thing is, I probably, for being a smaller channel, I know, okay, I'm going to say this for a fact. I know that my equipment is at least just as good, if not better, than people that have over 100,000 subscribers. Like, my equipment is really good. My computer's good. Everything's good. It's just the creator part. It's not the equipment. It's the person working the equipment. That's what's so funny. Oh, thanks, Reese. I appreciate you guys too. I really do need a video of bloopers though. That'd be funny. And I need an I Love Nancy Grace t-shirt. Oh, that's what I was going to show you guys. I have some stuff to show you guys for the Idaho 4 case. I found... I'm going to do a live on it tomorrow, but I found a picture and I don't know. I feel like I just need to show it to you guys. I don't have it up on my screen yet, but we'll have to do a live tomorrow on it. Also, there was some other stuff. What was I going to talk to you about tomorrow on the live? Let me see. Oh yeah, it was just going to go over the pictures of the back door. I found pictures of the back door from like the 13th through the 16th before they put the tape on the door. Like before they put the actual like red tape for the crime scene. So yeah, I do need a 4-year-old to work it. Oh my gosh, my niece, she would be all over this when she was 4. She used to be able to break into my phone. She broke into my phone one day with a passcode. I was like, how do you even know that? Like, crazy girl. But I wanted to show you guys this. So, the Gonzalez family, if you guys didn't see my live, they did put together a Facebook page, and they, I've been checking it. Like, I checked it today. And so this was 15 hours ago. I don't know if it has music, so I don't want to, it does. So I don't want to turn the music on, but that's just her, dancing when she was in high school, just being silly and funny. Super cute. She has her phone hanging out of her pocket. I'd never had a phone in school. Oh my God, I'm old. We didn't have phones when I was in school. Oh my gosh. How old am I? Did you guys have cell phones when you were in high school? You tell me. You tell me if you did, because I didn't. She's so cute. And then I wanted to show you this here. So if you guys would like to support the family. I'm going to order one myself. These are, oh, it's kind of big. I don't know why it's so big. Oh, that's just the picture up there. But these are sweatshirts that they designed for Ethan, Zaina, Maddie, and Kaylee. And up here it says, I had my heart on this design and made it come to life with my good friend Tara, who owns this business. The wings are of Maddie's tattoo, and she enjoyed flowers. I am Jessie Frost. Maddie's mother is my best friend. I wanted to create something special in remembrance of Kaylee, Maddie, Zaina, and Ethan. Thank you for supporting the U of I students. The proceeds will go to the families. Pick your, and then it has these. I'm going to get the green because I'm a hunter green girl. But it says, pick your unisex size, color, and which wings you would like on the front left side of your heart, or by your heart. The color of the font is silver and will be screen printed. And then it has like the back. Like, isn't that so cute? And it has their names in the petals. Yeah, no phone in school and no makeup. Yeah, I didn't have makeup either. In Florida, we don't do hoodies. Oh, yeah. That's true. Well, maybe it'll get cooler and you'll have to get one. This purple one would be pretty. I'm like a hunter. I love green. And I like black too, but I got animals, so you know. But I do like this. I thought this was really cute. And then you can get all 4 of their initials. Like, so you can pick this one here. This is the one I'm going to pick because it has all 4 of their initials. But then you just go to olive green. I think that's just it's cute. And if you wanted to order, look at me over here trying to sell. I have my own boutique and I'm over here selling their stuff. If you did order, you could always pay in 4 free installments or 4 interest-free installments. You have to get 2 sweatshirts though, because that's how they get you. See, $40, $50. But you can also do that on my boutique site because I do have a boutique. I'm gonna put my banner up really quick so you guys know about my boutique too. And I think that sweatshirt's cute though. I think it's a very nice tribute. And I've been wanting something from them, like something to have, you love the green too. Yeah, I think I'm a green person. I love green. And I think that was very sweet. It must have been last night that I saw this in summer. I couldn't remember. I'm like half asleep today for some reason, which I think it's because I didn't sleep well the other night, because my back was hurting so bad. And then I reached out to my chiropractor because I'm like, dude, where you been? And I guess he's been having heart problems. And I'm like, what's going on around here? Oh, I should. That's a good idea, Teresa. You know what? I might have to do that because I do have candles in my store. I would turn my camera on and show you my candle, but my camera's messed up. And so I was going to turn on my webcam and just use it. And then when I did that, the computer screen went completely off. My monitor did. I was like, what? Yeah, I think it's a foggy kind of day. But it looks like maybe the sun's going to come out here. It is, it's 23 degrees today. Forget that. That made me sad. Because I looked out the blinds a little and I was like, oh, sun. Teresa, didn't you say it was like 80 degrees in Florida? Bill was well over 30 when he got his first cell phone. I just saw that. Wow, Bill. I got my first cell phone. I was like 18. And it was literally, I was 16 and I used to carry my brother's old phone. It was so retro. It had an antenna that expanded about the size of a telephone remote. 23 degrees. Yeah, it's too cold here. I'm not going outside today. Sorry, dogs. Just kidding. I had got my first one when I was like 16, and then I bought my first one, like my own, it was a flip phone when I was 18. Oh no, you haven't missed much. You're just I hope you're okay. We're listening to Nancy Grace podcast, so you could always go to the beginning of the live because we're about 2 hours in. I'm about to get off here soon. And then you can just listen if you're at the hospital. Oh no. Well, let me know if there's anything I can do to help. You have my email. We're thinking of you. We're praying for you. Oh, I don't like that. I hate going to the hospital. We were talking about how I hate going to the hospital in the beginning of the live. I asked, I have like nerve damage through, obviously through my whole body. During the car accident, the engine of a car came in and piled in on my legs, so about 400 pounds of car on me. And so I have a lot of nerve damage. And I finally told my boyfriend, I'm going to tell my neurologist about it next time I go for Botox, because I just can't take the feeling of the nerves. And I'm on gabapentin, but I don't take it like I should. I don't want to. I don't like it. I mean, it doesn't do anything. So it's just very like, they thought it was RA because my mom had RA, rheumatoid arthritis. And then they tested me for it and they said, no, that's not RA. And then they were like fibromyalgia. And then they're like, okay, not fibromyalgia, they don't think. And I'm like, guys, it's just nerve damage, y'all. Like, I've had nerve damage in my face, my side of my ribs, my arm, both legs. That's why I feel it everywhere. I'm like one of those, I'm a weird case. I'm a strange case. I'm going to go to pain management. They've been trying to get me to go for 10 years. I'm going to go. I'm getting older now. And so now that I'm older, it's just like, it's too much. It's getting to, you know what I mean? Not like too much. I don't want to complain. I'm only 37, but with the metal and everything, you feel different. You have RA and fibromyalgia. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, it is awful. Because that's what they think. That's what they think I have, but they're just like, they don't know what to class. Like, it's like they don't know where to put me in, what class to put me in, because of just it's just all nerve damage. It's just different. Just like my mental health team, they treat me with certain medications, even though, like, okay, for instance, I'll tell you guys this, for instance, I have ADHD. They put me on medication for ADHD, but they also, it's ADHD / depression, even though it's not classified for depression by any stretch of the means. But because of my, head trauma, I guess, that's what works for me and, helps me. So that's why they classify me a lot of times under different things. Do you know what I mean? Like they just have to, they're just like, you're just different. This is what we're doing. So I'm like, just do what you got to do. Oh, you damaged your back when you were 15. Yeah, no, it's bad. But like when Vincent, he'll massage my back, I can feel it run through my legs, and it's weird. It's so weird. Yeah, I probably do have fibromyalgia. I probably need to go back. Oh, thank you. I'm going to do a 10-year video for you guys. I am on the youngest side. Yeah, I'm old at heart. I did have a TENS unit and I got rid of it, and I shouldn't have done that. I might need to get another one. Because I even used to use it on my legs too. So that's probably why, because my legs they feel heavy. Like, I mean, I know they are heavier. I asked one time how much the metal weighs. If you all ever want a weird question asked, just ask me and I'll ask it. But I asked them, I said, how much does metal weigh? I was like, because I feel heavier. And I think they said it was like 10 pounds or something altogether. So it's not like maybe about 10 pounds. So not a whole bunch, but it is. And the resistance is different. Like if you walk through snow, the first time I walked and on the grass was crazy. I thought I was sinking. I thought it felt like sand almost. Have you been back to where I have been? So yeah, I have been. I've been back there. But I haven't been back there. I've only been back there. I think I've only driven on that road maybe once since the accident. So, and I didn't drive. I think that it had to have been Vincent because because he was right there after my accident, it seems like. But I'm going to, I think I'm going to drive it myself. I don't know. I'm debating, but I'm thinking about it. So, because I mean, I lived on that road my whole life. So, not right there. I lived at the beginning of that part of the road. So I did drive on that road though pretty frequently. So I'm pretty sure I'd be okay. But I really want to take pictures there, but I want to take pictures, this sounds so random, but I want to take pictures like in the road, and that's not safe. So I need to like get some people together. Like, so I know some of the officers even that would like help me, maybe even block it off or something to where I could do that. If I got like one of my friends to do, or my sister-in-law or something to do an actual photo shoot, but cause I really want to. Exactly. 10th year. It is. I think it's time. It used to be really bad. And I'm so grateful for this is the only thing about COVID that I'm grateful for, were those masks. Because before we put the mask on our face, I was always hiding my eye with my hair, like my prosthetic. I never wanted people to know about it. Or if I met somebody, that was the first thing that came out of my mouth. Hi, I'm Tanya. I have a fake eye. I don't know why I felt the need to tell everybody that. I guess I thought, well, people were going to stare at it, so you might as well just point it out first. But then we started wearing masks, and I couldn't hide my hair with my face, because I really couldn't see it all at that point. Like, it was just covering my real eye with the mask on and stuff. So I started tucking my hair behind my ear, and then now I just wear it even up. So I have come a long way. Yeah, Teresa, I really have. I'll thank you, Crime with K. So are you. You're beautiful too. Yes, it's been a journey. It's been a long journey, and it'll be the rest of my life. But I have a great partner, to help me on my journey. Like the other night, my back hurt so bad, and I thought Vincent got up with me, and he was awake. I thought I said I might need to go to the hospital, and he was like, "Let me know," or something. And the next day, he was like apologizing to me. He said, "I felt like I wasn't there for you enough." And I was like, what? I said, no, you woke up. He's like, no, I feel real bad. And so that made me feel good in a way, because, that's when your partner's got your back. So, thank you, Isabel. Yeah, they did such a good job. They did. They really did. I wish I could turn my camera on to show everybody, but they did. They did a great job. 17 surgeries, but they knew what they were doing. So, Ohio State, they were pretty good to me. But I better get off here because I can hear my dog out there. She's dancing at the door. Aw. Well, if you were my surgery nurse, Teresa, I could tell you are a surgery nurse. Like, you would be the best surgery. Oh my gosh. Surgery nurses, any nurse in general. I love nurses. I do. I love them. They literally do more work than the doctors. They do everything. My nurses were excellent. I was that person that, needed 6 heated blankets, and they made sure I had 6 heated blankets. Like, I didn't even have to ask for them. They would just be like, you're so small, let me give you another one. And they would always have a smile on their face and just be so positive. And that really makes a difference, especially when you're sick. And, even if it's those days where you're like doing the worst job in the world, like maybe cleaning up after somebody, because they're using the bathroom, just taking the extra couple minutes with that patient, and, like that meant like so much to me when I was in the hospital. Like the nurses taking the extra time with me to like, clean me in the shower, or, fix my hair if I needed help, which I was pretty independent, but if, I needed it, they were there. So I loved my nurses. Yeah, blanket warmers are the best. I have a towel warmer I put my blanket on sometimes. And it reminds me of the hospital blankets, because I had a hospital blanket for like the longest time. But, well, I am going to get off of here. You guys are the best. Thank you for spending your day with me a little bit this morning. We will do Idaho for tomorrow. Don't forget, if you'd like to order a sweatshirt there on the Facebook page, it's called, let me see the exact page, because it's called the Idaho 4 Gonzalez, and the Gonzalez family page. I believe that's what it's called. So you guys have a wonderful day. I will see you guys all here tomorrow, the same time, 10:15. And, just to be good to each other, be good to yourself. Nikki, if you need anything, reach out. And hopefully everybody is feeling healthier after this live. Hopefully everyone had at least a little smile. But I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.